Hello guys, and welcome to this week's episode of the Limitless Landscapers podcast. As always, I'm your host, Paula Warman, and today I'm talking about systems and processes and the importance of having them in your business. Why is this important? Well, if you've been following me for a bit and seeing the recent events of me and my brother taking over my dad's business, then you'll know why systems and processes are super important, because this particular business has nothing. So I'm going to be sharing some real life issues and stuff with you. So I think you're going to find this a good episode. So if you're interested, let's go to the show.
As the co-founders of the Landscaper Circle, we help you get more money, time and freedom to become limitless through our experiences as fellow landscapers and our tried and tested methods. If you want help with your marketing, managing or growing your business, you've definitely come to the right place. If you're a landscaper, garden designer or supplier to the industry, then hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. Now, let's get back to the show.
Hello guys, how are you? It's a lovely week again. We're in June. What a wonderful, wonderful month coming up. So hopefully the weather stays as it is and everyone's enjoying doing their landscaping work outside, you lucky things. So hope everyone is well. If you've been listening to Instagram at the Landscapers Coach, I've been doing a few Friday thoughts. Every Friday I'm sharing some thoughts with you, so go check that out on a Friday. But basically I've been talking about essentially the problems that I've been having looking after running my dad's business. Now, just a bit of background, my father is not very well, so myself and my siblings are trying to keep the business going in order to be able to sell it and then pay for his care, etc., as we go forward. And this week, well, last week, I drove up to Cambridge and met my brother and the manager of my dad's removals business, obviously saw my dad and family, and we officially took over. So I took over the finances, my brother's taken over the quotes and admin side, and together from a distance, we are trying to manage this business. Now, what has cropped up is the fact that systems and processes are literally non-existent in this business, or they are, but they're very difficult for new people to take over. And it got me thinking, really, because my own landscaping business has systems and processes in it, but not logged as I would like, and things have been cropping up lately that have led to issues within the team. So it's basically made me then reflect on my own business and what can I implement now to prevent problems later. And also, if I want to sell my landscaping business later on down the road, I need to get it set up properly now. I hate things like systems and processes because it feels really boring. But when you haven't got them, it causes huge issues. So I'll share with you some of the real life issues we're dealing with at the moment. So my father has a storage company. So yeah, basically he built it specifically to store people's furniture and stuff in. So he's custom made this unit. There's about 130 units in there. And then we've got a removals company, which has a really good reputation. I've already had interest from buyers, and it has, a number of vans on the road, a number of, the services we offer is like a pack and a move, moving into storage if you need out of storage, or just to your next place of residence. That's how basic it is. However, everything is done on paper. So they have a paper diary, which then if you're not there, and the thing is I'm not there, I'm a few hundred miles away, there's no way of me to manage what moves we have on, who we're meeting at storage, what packs we have on, etc. There's no client file. There's no inquiry log. And you will know I bang on about a bloody inquiry log all the time. So we have no idea where people are coming from. It's a case of sifting through existing emails. We have a Rolodex system of storage payments. So an actual piece of paper with their name on, their information, and very basic information, no contact information there, just how much they pay and what date they pay, and then a tick if they've paid. And then we manually have to process all the payments via the card machine, and then manually send out the invoices, which are still done on Word documents. I know, I can't even make this up. And then we also have a number of people that are not in our own storage, but in someone else's storage that we're paying for, that we haven't even looked at the price. So we're actually paying for them to be in someone else's storage when we have available storage here. So there's so many issues here. But as myself and my brother took over the laptop, pads, diaries, etc., it became blatantly obvious that there's never been a system in place for dealing with inquiries. There's never been a system in place for dealing and managing storage, and everything is on paper, which is a pain in the ass in the basic terms. So essentially, we are now setting up all the systems online. So it's a very, very interesting journey because we're going back to basics. So essentially, we are setting up an online calendar, which the manager is kicking his heels, digging his heels in, whatever you want to say, but he's not happy because he likes a paper diary. I mean, I like a paper diary. If you know anything about me, I love my paper diary, but that diary only relates to me. When we've got a number of people trying to book in moves, book in quotes, book storage meetings, because it's not a self-store, or they do have to meet someone at storage so we can let them in. It becomes decidedly difficult when there's multiple people doing those jobs and there's one paper diary. So we are currently moving the diary online. We are also looking to automate payments from storage because these people have been in storage for years. There's quite a lot of ongoing clients. So by moving them to a system where we can automatically take payment would save a lot of headaches and admin, which would then lead us to, obviously they would get an invoice generated from that system. We are also then looking at taking the accounts online. So any normal business now utilizes a software such as QuickBooks or Xero in order to be able to just drive the invoices, pull reports off, link to your bank accounts, etc. This current business does not. Well, it's two businesses because the storage and the removals are separate. So we've got two bank accounts running, which, yeah, is just ridiculous when you are still doing everything via a Word doc. Even the terms and conditions of the contracts haven't been changed over the last 10 years. So we are now looking to, amend the terms and conditions of our new clients on board, for instance, and seeing how we can send that electronically using something like DocuSign, which I utilize in my landscaping business, for people to sign off and accept the terms and conditions, set up recurring payments, etc. So everything is now moving in the direction of moving it online, making as much of it automated as possible, and generally making it easy for anyone anywhere to log in. So for myself to be able to log in, and my brother who lives down there but obviously doesn't live near me, so we need to be able to access documents. Other things, other systems that we're having to look at to put into place is how do we deal with inquiries and who deals with them. At the moment, we have a real haphazard way of dealing with them, and this is just what we've adopted from the business. But essentially, the manager deals with the inquiry on the phone that he has, the company phone. And essentially, when someone doesn't know how to word or spell things correctly, it comes over very unprofessional. So we are in the process now of changing it to the process is when inquiries come in, they go onto the inquiry log that I'm going to create. And then following that, my brother will then contact them via that inquiry log, obviously get their details from there, contact them, book them in for a quote, and then with the manager. And the manager only has access to the diary, so he will no longer have access to emails. So only one person is responding to these emails. If it's a financial email, it comes to me, he will forward it to me, but essentially he manages the mailbox, he books the quotes, and the manager just follows that online diary. This is a real, it seems like a real simple process and procedure, but it's essentially, it's so muddled at the moment because so many people have access to everything. So the simple thing to do is change passwords, which is what we are doing. It's quite interesting because then it starts me looking at my business, and I would absolutely think about these basic processes and procedures and how you could look at in your landscaping business, because I bet you guys have not got your process and procedures written down. And this was the other sort of hurdle we had to overcome when I took over from my cousin. It's now been a case of me constantly asking her, where is X, Y, and Z? Because I have no idea where client details are kept, because I don't know her brain and how she's filed things. So it's always asking, whereas if there was a procedure in place, if there was a documentation to say, if you need to find a client file, go here, do this. If you need to invoice, go here, do this. It would be so much help, more helpful. So there is worthwhileness starting to pop your procedures and processes into an easy to read file or video series, because then if you have someone taken over from you, which you no doubt will as you grow and develop your business, then it's easy for them to just get on instead of asking you what to do all the time. So this has, again, got me thinking and implementing in my own business. Something else that cropped up is timesheets and logging time, and in my own business, holiday logs. And essentially, I've just been doing it on an Excel spreadsheet, but people want to see what they've got left. And it's very irritating when you're busy doing work and someone's contacting you, well, how much holiday have I got? And you're thinking, well, I haven't really got time to go looking at this present moment, or I'm not available, I'm not on my computer. So for them to be able to see their holiday, request holiday. So I've started looking into an online app, really, a bit of software where we can have online timesheets. So the guys can, log in their hours. And I'm talking about my landscaping business now. They can log their hours, they can log their breaks, they can request holiday, they can look at how much holiday they've got at any one time. They can see how many hours they've done and logged in a week at any one time. And so there's full transparency. They can see what's going on. I have to approve things. They can see if I've approved holiday, and we can all see how much holiday they've got left to take before the 1st of April next year. So I'm currently implementing that. I'll let you know how it goes, because I think this is an important process to do. And again, it's something that allows me to step further away from my business. So they're not reliant on me to provide them with information that's held on my laptop securely. No, they can actually log in and see for themselves where they're at and what they're owed, etc., which makes my life a lot easier. And it makes it easier when it comes to the point that I'm exiting the company. I'm not really needed. So, and that is really the point. Seeing it in my dad's business in particular, he has had to exit his company early due to ill health. None of us know what is around the corner. And unfortunately for my father, the ill health has now prevented him to do any exit planning in his business. So essentially it's fallen to myself and my siblings to take on the reins. There's no one else around to do it, or the people that were doing it poorly. And now we're having to think about how we can make this business a viable business for someone else to buy and to make it easy to pass on. Because what I don't want to do is keep it in its current state, pass it on to sell, and then someone relying on me to tell them where things are, what to do, etc., because they'll be coming into a business with zero process and systems in place. If I can get those systems and processes in place, it makes it far easier to pass on to somebody else who wants to buy it. It makes it a much more valuable business because there's less headaches involved. I'm dealing with the headaches right now. And it takes you further away from the business, which is obviously key for all of us. So I'm also going to be, if this is going to work well in my landscape business, I will then implement it in my father's business as well, because we have multiple people obviously working as removals teams, packing teams, and obviously the manager. And instead of them just texting me 5 days, 3 days, 2.5 days, whatever it might be, I can then set up the timesheets accordingly, and they can log their time and see, and amend everything there, and I can approve holiday, etc. as well. So what I'm trying to say in this podcast, and the aim of this podcast, is to get you to really look at your business and see what you could implement now to make your life easier going forward. And yes, it's not easy when you're implementing it, because I'm learning all about timesheet apps and holiday apps at the moment. And they are quite simple, but you've got to get your head around it. And then you've got to teach your team how to use it properly, which is the next step. I'm also obviously then needing to create manuals for people that are going to run the business when I'm not just in my landscaping business, but in the removals company. I'm having to work out roles in the company. Me and my brother are having to look at my dad's business and working out what our roles are at this present moment and what other people we need. Who can we get to? Even things like answering the phone. I'm now employing a call answering service, which I do in my landscaping business, but no one's ever done it in the removals company. So everyone's just answering the phone on the hop, which A, is unprofessional, and B, you're wasting a lot of time on the phone, then trying to get your paper diary out to book in quotes, etc. It makes no sense. So again, it's kind of employing and outsourcing things that are going to make it more profitable in the future. I guess what I'm trying to implore you to do is to really look at the boring stuff like systems and processes and see if you can start putting things in place now, if you can outsource stuff, if you can start documenting your time, which then leads to creating processes or training videos on how to do the things you're doing. So you can eventually step away from your business, eventually sell it if you want, or basically plan for your exit. Because, you know, if something were to happen, God forbid, touch wood, nothing happens, but if something were to happen like it has to my dad, what would happen to your business and how would that affect your family? Because essentially, if my business couldn't run, how can my family continue to live the life they live? So yes, it seems a bit depressing now. I'm ending this on a depressive note, but essentially, my dad's fine, by the way. He's ill in health and he's unable to run a business, but he is alive and he is living a life, and we are helping manage that for him, luckily. So it's kind of just thinking about these things now rather than waiting and putting them off. And I know lots of things can come up in business and you're constantly firefighting, particularly, you know, when we're trying to fight against the weather and staff and costs and stuff. But please have a look at your systems and processes. And if you need any help, please get in contact with me. I do work one-to-one with landscaping businesses. And of course, I've got my mastermind, which if you are a landscaping business looking to up level, please do get in touch. So that's it for me today. I find it quite a boring topic, but I am finding it quite interesting as I'm going on this journey of 3 businesses that I'm running now, which is exciting in itself. I think I'm absolutely insane. But I will keep you updated with how all the systems and processes are happening, because it might help you in your business think about things. So if I find a piece of software, if I find a process or a system or a way of doing things that make things easier, I will let you know either on here in the podcast or over on Instagram at The Landscapers Coach. And thank you for listening, guys. And I will be with you again next week, same time, same place. Bye.